everyone. Welcome to the show. It's another great edition of Bring It in the House podcast show where we spotlight musicians, entertainers, artists, and leaders. Get your meal, and we have a great meal tonight. Woohoo! I'm so excited because, we've been having a series of filmmakers in the house, and this young lady right here is an award winning producer, director, and passionate storyteller. Let's give it up for Miss Dee Dee Palini. Woo!
Woo! Hello, hello. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You are very welcome. We're excited to have you here. I hear an accent, Dee Dee? Are
Yes. Yes, you
okay.
heard correctly. I am from Brazil. I have been here, I have been living in Atlanta, Georgia for the past 2.5 years.
Uh-huh.
So you can still hear a little bit of my accent.
I love it. It's a beautiful accent. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Yes. What part of Brazil
Sao Paulo.
so-
So yeah, the largest, capital. It's kind of like it's a big city, very,
Mhm.
very big, but it's the one you gotta be for film and entertainment. It's either that or Rio.
Real.
The biggest one's in Brazil. So I was living over there.
I would love to visit. I've never been over there.
You should, and then you should go to Northeast. You're gonna get the most amazing places. It's like beautiful.
I hear great stories, that is a beautiful place. So what school did you attend there?
So
In
I started my path in a different career. I went
Mhm.
to my bachelor's is in economics. So I started that my whole life. Yeah, it's a whole different thing than the entertainment side. I know.
Yeah.
So I started in the economics. So I went to a state that's called Minas Gerais.
Mhm.
And then I came to America, did an exchange program. And then when I went back to Brazil, and then I was living in São Paulo, right? And then I
Mhm.
attended a film school, like it was a master's program over there. And then I just like jumped into the whole career in film and I kind of like quit the other job.
Yeah. He was like, "This is where I'm supposed to be,
I
right here."
know, I know. And then I just like, oh, okay, now I want to move to the USA. So let's just do that. So I just jumped and in a whole different a whole different country.
Yes. So what made you choose Atlanta over maybe LA or New York?
Yeah, so I lived here before in an exchange program like 13 years ago, and I
Mhm.
really liked the city. So at the time, I was not even in film, but film was starting, right? It was about like 2014. It was something like when the things were starting to begin in Atlanta, right? And and besides, I love the city. It's like one of the cities that I wanted to have a family. I wanted to kind of like I like the southern hospitality with the metropolitan life of Atlanta, because Atlanta is like, I say that we are in a bubble, in a way. I feel like we have a lot of things that are great in the southern, and we have a lot of things that are great in big capitals, like kind of thing. So you can get a little bit of both.
Mhm.
Um, so with the film and this whole thing, I'm like, oh, you know what? I think I want to go back to Atlanta. Unless I have like a job opportunity somewhere else, that's the place I want to live, like my whole life. So that's why I decided to come here.
Alrighty. Well, I agree. You made a great choice. There are so many opportunities there in Atlanta. I lived there for 4 years.
You
Yeah.
did? How did
Yeah,
you
I
like it?
did. I loved it. The climate, I love it. I love the food. Um,
Hmm.
I moved there in 2014 and I lived there until 2018. My daughter is was here in Austin, Texas, and she kept because we used to live in Dallas, in the Dallas Fort
Yeah.
Worth area, in a sub city called Irving. She grew up mostly in Texas, and she kept like, "Mom, let's go back to Texas." And she ended up coming back this way, and then she talked me into it. But right now we're in Austin. We didn't move back to Dallas. We moved to
Oh,
Austin.
okay. That's
Here
nice.
we
That's
are.
nice.
But yeah, I love the trees. Atlanta has those big, tall trees.
Oh,
It's
beautiful, right?
yeah,
I mean, my
yeah.
mom came to visit last year in December, and she was so surprised by all the trees and all the, like when you talk about like a big city or like a big, I mean, of course, it's not one of the biggest in America, but it's like when you compare to like some of the big cities in Brazil, it has so many trees and so many like so much green and nice, like
Greenery,
parks.
yes.
Yeah, or like
Mhm.
so many parks. I mean, this is an American thing. Like you have a park every corner, like,
Yeah.
so that's a great thing. It kind of like helps this whole like suburban life sort of, kind of like
Mhm.
environment. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, that's how I met, Angela Ray, because we used to be neighbors right there in Atlanta. I don't know if she
That's
told you that.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful place. I often get asked, "Do you miss Atlanta?" Mm, I'm still learning so much about Austin, so I like it here too. So you can say I moved
Yes.
from the ATL to the ATX.
That's right. That's right. Yes, you did.
Yeah. So you have so much going on, award winning, Dee Dee. And so you've built an extensive, diversified portfolio as a notable, you've worked with notable and major brands. I was reading all of this. You work with brands that collaborated with brands such as, I've written it down, some really big names. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Give us a
Yes, I
little
did.
backstory.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mostly like produce some video campaigns, but also some photo shoots for like Banana Republic, Coca-Cola, let's see, Madewell. There was like some bid, especially like I would go a lot to Rio, because Rio is like one of the like, like Rio de Janeiro, right? We're talking like
Well,
beach, we're
yes.
talking like, nice and I mean it's beautiful, right?
Mhm.
So I would produce a lot of like especially photo shoots for those companies over there. So that's the place, Americans want to go. Like when you talk about like you gotta go to Rio, right? You gotta go to like the spots. So I did a lot of that, and then in Sao Paulo, I did mostly videos for like, like beer companies. Like we have a famous one, it's like Brahma, we have Boticario, and then I did an exhibition for the Formula One. So that was like a whole different thing, like a production for over days kind of like situation. Yeah, I did some scripts for like, like some scripts in producing like for, like some other like companies like um constructions. I mean, there was quite a lot. Like sometimes you're just like, this is how you make some money, and also like, and then you go and do your short films and you get like your ideas out there. So I was trying to like mix and combine a little bit of both. So it's not
Yeah.
boring, so it's not like just one
Exactly.
thing or just the other. Yeah, I like to diversify my, like my experience, and also like I don't know, there's also I mean, always something different and interesting that you can learn
Mhm.
that I like going, from one to another.
On to another, yeah. What really grabbed you though, Dee Dee? I know because your bachelor's is in economics, and at what point did you say, "Hmm," I mean, what
Hmm.
happened to make that spark come about?
Right? I feel like I started, it's hard to say. When I moved to Atlanta, I kind of like did some acting classes. But I
Mhm,
grew up in a small town, and I then moved to São Paulo, right? But I grew up in a small town and we didn't have like many like film programs or any like, it was just theater.
mhm,
So I was acting in theater, but it was like one of those that you do a play once a year, it's for the city, not like major thing, right?
right.
Um, and then I decided to follow because I really wanted to do economics, like business and all of that. I still like it. It's not like I don't like that. So I went on a different path, and then when I came to America, I had the feeling, like I had the taste of like acting and kind of like working with the camera a little bit.
Mhm,
So anyway, I went back, started working as a consultant because it was literally like, I had never worked before. Um, and then it was just something that, like, I felt like I wanted to create, like I wanted to inspire in a different way.
mhm,
And then so I started looking for some classes because I had no knowledge in film, right? Not even like basic or anything. I just wanted to jump in. And so I found this like a master's program in Brazil that was over the weekend, and
mhm,
it was very hands-on, very production, and it would go over the whole like every department. So I thought that was good basic to have. So I did for that for a year, and when I started doing my first short films, I'm like, oh, this is fun. I like this. So I was not happy at my old job or the career I was going, and I'm like, I, I feel like I want to get out now. Like I felt like maybe I should do it now. So I kind of like quit my job, and then I just jumped right in. And then I got like a production, like a assistant, PA at a production company, and then I started doing my own projects or doing friends projects, and kind of like one thing leads to another,
Yeah.
and then just became this whole thing.
Yeah. So you took that one leap, like they say, leap and the net will appear.
Yes, yes, it's tough. It's tough because I was not, especially like financially speaking. I mean, I mean, okay, so my family it's not artistic, right? So when I say
Yeah.
that, families are not like, yay, move to the arts, go be
Yeah.
creative. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was working, but I was starting a career, so I was not making enough money to even like pay the bills. Kind of like it
Support.
was just like
Mhm.
surviving mode. But
Mhm.
I was so like unhappy that um I'm like, I don't want to do this for like 10 years just so I can have money, and maybe in 10 years I'll try to be happy. So it was a tough decision because for me, um, finance, I mean, you always think about, how much money you have to do this. And I had zero. And then it was funny because like I decided and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna quit. And the funniest thing is that I was working with like a very good friend of mine. A manager was great. People above her, not so great, or even like the career. It was not just because of the people. But it was funny because like I had the longest how do you say, like when you quit, and then I had the longest like wait until I actually left because I was gonna leave in 15 days, and then a
Mhm.
project came back for my manager, and my manager was like, "Hey, can you help us out?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. I just quit because I don't want to do this anymore, not because I literally want to change my life, but I can stay here 30 more days for you, so we can work on this project together." So I had like the longest notice, I
Well,
guess.
yes, your
It was like about
resignation
45 days
notice.
notice because I was
Wow.
like, and they were trying to convince me to stay, and I was like, I just don't want to. Like I don't want it right now, like I want to try something different if it
Mhm.
works or if it doesn't. And we were talking like what, 7 years ago. So like no, almost 8 years ago. Yeah. So it's like, if it works or if it doesn't, I just want to try it. I know that I'll have this because they still like me. I'm not kicking the door, like I keep
Yeah.
the door open.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was a bit courageous at the time, and still is, being doing what you like, or I don't know. I just feel like it's worth it. I really, really enjoy.
And that's good. Doing what you
Yeah.
love every day, you get to do what you love and
Yeah.
create and do all those great things, and then you have the business side. So that's really an edge. I think that's a good, like, dual diversified background to have. I really do.
Yeah, yes, that's what I like to bring because I have this. My mind loves budgets and organizing and management and stuff like that. A lot of like creative people don't. And I
Mhm.
also like to create. So sometimes I do have like, okay, am I talking to the DD producer or DD director? Like I have to like, all right, let's not. Sometimes it works well, but
Yeah.
sometimes I just gotta like stop and think of like, all right, let's just go more creative because I can, like, and stop thinking like, is this gonna take long? Is this gonna be expensive? Is this like, and then I was like, okay, stop that brain. You have somebody else to worry about that. So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Oh, well, it keeps you on your toes. I know it
totally,
does.
totally, totally. But it's good. I can start my own projects and kind of like know where to go or what to do next. Like I feel like that's a great motivation to know a little bit of the production side, but also have some of the enhancing like my creative skills in terms of like creating something different every time.
Every time, yeah. Last
Yeah.
week's guest was a filmmaker as well, and he had a kinda like a diversified background as well. there's a lot of competition out there these days for both male and females. So, tell us what sets you apart from the other filmmakers.
Yeah, there is a lot. I mean, I'm from Brazil. Come on, that sets me apart. No, just kidding. Right, right.
Yeah.
No, I feel like a lot. A lot that sets me apart is honestly, I feel like this mix of having my production brain and my creative brain like at the same time, but like coming from, like a background in economics, like I'm really like that's how I started being like a producer. That's what I do the most, but especially like, for work or for gigs or stuff like that. But having this background, liking spreadsheets, budgets and being able to actually make sense in all of that, but then I can mix and understand what, a director wants or what a writer. So try to combine both. I feel like it's one of my like I would say
Strengths.
like, the biggest, yeah, the good things that I can bring to a project.
Yeah, one of your superpowers.
Yes, yes, let's say that.
Well, congratulations on all your success. I mean, you have an MBA, right? And then you have an MFA. That's
Yes, I
Master of
am working on the
Film.
MFA right now. So I got a scholarship. It was not on my, career path, kind of
Mhm,
like going back to school, but I have always wanted to go back to college or do college in America, have
mhm,
that full experience kind of like that you see in the movies. Of course,
mhm,
doing MFA is different than being an undergrad, but and then I just applied for this film program and I got a scholarship. So I'm like, you know what? That gives
yeah,
like another career path if I want to become a professor or if I want to do something and then teach. I can
mhm,
have that as well. And as I learn and I meet new people, kind of like
mhm.
so yeah, I'm very pleased that I decided to kind of like, give a little pause and do this whole thing with the MFA right now.
Yes, I know.
Uh,
And when do you graduate? What's the your
it's gonna be 2
graduation date?
years. Yeah, so because it's a program that you teach, so they take a
Mhm,
little longer in it with the MFA. But the good thing is that we can use all the resources, equipment, do our own things. So it's been great. I was in
mhm,
fact at the studio today, filming for one of my classes, cinematography class,
mhm.
and I decided to, instead of doing like a 4-hour project in class, I was like, why not do something more complicated, a short film in 2 days and have the studio, have more people? Like, so I
Yeah.
did complicated my life, but I'm like, the resources are here, people. Let's use it to actually make something that we can take it to film festivals or people can actually see it than just a simple scene. Um, so yeah, it was it was a bold move, but it today it went really well. So I'm just tomorrow's gonna go great as well.
As well, and yeah, and I was reading, you've been featured in so many different magazines here recently.
Yes.
You've been in the
Yes.
Call Sheet. Well, you've been on another podcast called
Mm-hmm.
The Call Sheet podcast, and then Voyage to ATL, and then Shout Out Atlanta, all the digital magazines.
Yes.
And I read a quote in Shout Out Atlanta. I really liked it. It says that you want your legacy to be about impact. And I like that. Can you kinda,
Yes.
elaborate on that? Because I think that's so
Yes.
pure. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like that's the first thing like it got me into going into film. It was that I wanted to sort of like make a difference, like I wanted to create stories that could resonate with people or could tell um or I wanted to tell stories that, kind of like inspired. So I really want to like my legacy to be about like inspiration and impact. Like I want to do or have things like for pure entertainment. Yes, sure. This is, it's fun if you get somebody's laugh or if you get somebody serious, but in a good way, like in watching a movie, getting inspired, getting resonating with them, like that way. I feel like that's the biggest thing for me.
Mhm,
And if I can do that while sending a nice message or changing someone's life, I mean
mhm.
that's for me. It's like a win itself, it's that's my I know it's kind of like cheesy, but that's my biggest award, if I can actually just like I have this documentary right now about transcendence. It's called Transcendence. That what inspired me to do that, it was to talk to transgender people in Atlanta. And what inspired me was that the pastor that officiated my wedding, it was a trans pastor. And growing up in a Catholic country, I mean, you barely see an LGBT flag outside of
Yeah.
church. And then when you drive to Atlanta, you see a lot, right? And
Mhm.
and then being able to meet that phenomenal person that wanted to be, herself, her authentic self, I'm like, I want to portray this positivity, because I always see that um I'm not a trans, I'm a lesbian, but like, you always see sometimes with the LGBT community like being portrayed as something negative or the story with like all of them. But I just feel like I wanted to bring like a positive side to, all those stories or people trying to find themselves. And I had read so many like interesting comments like when we had like the showings and people that actually were happy or to see it, that were actually touched them.
Mhm.
And it got me a really like it got me, very I was very, very pleased about it. So
Excited about that, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
that's what I want, my legacy to be, hopefully. Um just I just want to inspire people.
Yeah, impactful. That is so good.
Yes.
And congratulations again because you picked up best podcast in the Rio Web Fest, correct?
Yes, I did. I did. That was one of the first creations that I actually wrote, like a script.
Mhm.
That's the funny thing about that podcast. It was my first fiction podcast. And I was kind of like the world had gone on, like pandemic,
Mhm.
and everybody wanted to do a video. That's what we were used to, right? Web series,
Mhm.
short films, features, whatever. And I'm like, how can I create something? So I had a very like there's a very good friend of mine in Brazil that is a great sound designer and sound engineer. And then I asked him like, hey, what if we did this fiction podcast? Because I love the narration, like I not the narration, sorry, I love the narrative
Mhm.
fictional um kind of like podcast,
Mhm.
and I wanted to do and create a story. So, and then he's like, yeah, let's do it. So it was funny because it was my first time writing in a script that I had to think in a way that people would listen to it, right? Because they're not seeing the picture. It's like an audio, like like
Okay, like an
a
audio book or
radio.
something.
Yeah, it's like an
Mhm.
audio, like, but like there's no narrator, there's only the actors like playing their roles.
Mhm.
And then we had to like, okay, footsteps, door. It's like a wood house. So like, so he would know what to pick from Foley and do
Yeah.
the sounds. And I would be working on the scripts. And then we would have like people because they could like just do it from their own home, right? Because we're talking
Mhm.
like April, like 20, like the beginning of pandemic. People didn't have like
Yeah.
their studios or cameras or anything, right?
Yeah.
So they could just record on their phones. And my friend is like, oh my God, is like so good at clearing or doing anything with sound that you can send like a bad sound, he will work on it. So I was like, okay, let's do it. And I had so much fun that I turned that now into, we are turning that into like a film that it's actually a series, audiovisual series that we want to start pitching and having, like try to make it for audiovisual now. But yeah, that was a great project. And I had like, it was inspirational when I got that. It was kind of like, it was like the pandemic was like a time that it made us all think, right? Because you were at
Yeah.
home, you kind of like you may have to change careers or not. And then when I created that, just because I wanted to create something, it reaffirmed that, I wanted to keep doing, in a way. So
Mhm.
that was
Mhm.
the nicest thing for me about that podcast.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
And that's when this podcast was birthed in 2020 out of COVID. So a lot of
there we
podcasts
go.
And you I don't know, were you on Clubhouse, the app Clubhouse? A
Yeah,
lot of Yeah, I haven't been on there in a while, but a lot of shows, and I think that started around COVID, a lot of shows and people were networking and talking a lot through
totally, totally.
Clubhouse.
Yes.
Yeah, so and you also got best diversity film for Glass Cabinet.
Yes, yes.
Oh.
That was a very nice like production I did with some a group of like friends in Brazil and also like people that I got to meet on set. But that was a it was a short film based on um it's this like story, it's an LGBT story based
Mhm,
on a abusive relationship and also it's a drama and but it was interesting and it was brought to me to produce it and I was like yeah let's do it and I was like at first I didn't know that that happened a lot in LGBT like couples or especially like female and I was like okay let me do my research and it was just unfortunately that I found out that it was the case so I'm like hey we should kind of like have this to inspire other people that are going through this that they need to take action that they need to do something so it was always so like based on that, but that was for the LGBT community.
mhm, yeah, and how do you just keep and this is I guess this confirmation lets you know that you're in the right place because it seems like you get opportunity after opportunity. I mean, how do you stay out there in the game?
Oof. I feel like I always like if I can, I try to say yes to a project, even if it's like paid or not paid. If I can like learn or get to meet someone or do something different. So like right now, I can be more selective about what I do or what I don't, but or at least I know what kind of questions to ask.
Mhm.
Um, but I just try to I mean, I just try to kind of like try to
Network.
find the people yeah and then as like this producer background people come to me because they think you're gonna get the money I was like there's one type of producer and they're gonna fund your project I'm the type of producer that will make it happen if you give
Mhm.
me the funds to it
To do it, yeah.
or like at least we have some of the resources or
A
what
budget.
kind of like film are you expecting so there's like different questions but yeah, I just try to kind of like meet one person here and there and kind of like just keep doing things, never like stopping or so I can always keep going and yeah, feel like I am working on something on a project. I mean, it feels nice. I like being on set. Not every day, like I don't think I'm so I like creating as well, so I like this balance that I've created for myself that a little bit here like on set, a little bit creating and it's a mix.
Yes, yes. And you've been doing films now for over a decade, would
Yes,
you say?
yes, it's been like
Yeah,
that. Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Right? Yeah, this
That's
is
commendable. That's very
yeah,
commendable. Yeah, you
thank you,
should be
thank you.
proud. Yeah, you should
Thanks.
feel good. Over a decade. What's next for you? What else can we expect? Don't
Oh,
you
I
you have
have
another?
okay, so I have two short animated films that are on festivals right now. I have that documentary. It's a feature documentary that's being edited right now. It's called Alpha Rising that was shot in Atlanta.
Uh-huh.
I have one short documentary that I was the producer that was shot in Brazil. It's about autism and single moms that had just started the festival run, and we had like a premiere, like VIP premiere. But last week we had over
Mhm.
500 people from a college, and I mean we had so many
So
great feedback, out of that. So that was like amazing. That was really really nice to see people like talking back to us with the talking to the director, sending us DMs and like, hey, I feel like my nephew has autism, but we didn't know how to handle, we don't know what to do. So seeing that and how the kids are kind of like inspired us to actually talk about it.
yeah.
So and what else? I have another short film that we're about to wrap up next week. It's called Harmony of Freedom. this is a mix that it's we're mixing the orchestra symphony um with like some interviews that talk about the civil rights. So
Mhm.
the director is a conductor in the orchestra, and he's a young conductor, and he's been doing this project to mix the talk a little bit about the civil rights and mix with the orchestra. So we were filming, I don't know, over 40 people on stage and doing like 5 cameras. We have like different shots. Yeah, it was just fun.
I
So
know, it
yeah, and many
sounds
more to come.
yes. It sounds so exciting. Whatever I can do to continue to help, I'm hey, just call me
Oh
or
yeah,
yeah.
whenever. I mean, I had like a great time. Let me know if I have anything new. I'll let you know. Maybe we can like get on a different date and talk again. But if everybody wants to keep up, like you can follow me on Instagram. Like it's DD Productions, so it's DIDI Productions underscore.
Mhm.
You can check my website for portfolio. So it's ddproductions.com. Yeah, I'm always here, always wanting to do something new, something fun.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like this is, life has to be a little bit, light and fun.
Mhm.
So
Mhm. I
yeah.
agree. We have really enjoyed you. I mean, time went by so fast. I
I
can't
know it
believe it.
did. It did. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so sorry again. We had this difficulty that I'm
Oh
not on
no.
my best background right now, but hopefully, everything was okay. And thank you so much all for listening and for, just I love sharing my stories. So thank you for giving me the space.
You are very welcome, and maybe who knows, maybe we'll get to work together on a film. 'Cause
Absolutely. I would love that. Yes.
that's one of my dreams to do a short film or a short documentary.
Oh,
Out
wow.
yeah.
We gotta talk. Oh, we have to talk. I'll get
Mhm.
us the resources. Some like, even if it's like equipment and crew, talk to me.
I will, I will. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the beautiful, talented, creative producer, Miss Dee Polini out of Atlanta,
Thank you.
Georgia. She's doing great things and follow her, like she said, on Instagram and other social media sites, or go to her website, ddproductions.com, and find out more. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Bring It in the
Thank
House.
you
We'll
all.
see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.